I still stick. Oh wow, that's a surprise right out of the gate. Without much thought right there, they really took Toby away from Cold Snap Meltdown. Probably not a bad choice on this. Really going to keep him from being a contender down kind of the long sight line of the lane on there.
That was really good because of the sole fact that I believe Toby really burned them when they played Lost Heroes last time. So it's like they immediately banned it. As you see on the Lost Heroes side, they banned Kelvin. And then you see the Boulder pick. And that was one pick that I believe NocTurnal did as well last game. So it's like on that side, it was kind of like taking the lesser of the two evils, I believe. So,
well, I heard some whispering on the sideline that there's some teams here that believe that Boulder is the strongest character in the game right now. And occasionally, again, it's like Skelly and I talked about earlier, when you see Boulder supported with a good team play and all of that, it's hard to argue that. Oh, and here we get a Melka pick right out of the gate. That's an interesting choice. Again, there's a lot of good verticality in Cold Snap that doesn't exist in some of the other maps. Maybe you're trying to get some of that mobility from Melka playing in there and all that. Galilea, by the way, was the last ban. That happened really, really fast. You might not have noticed that. But again, no surprise there. Galilea, again, super versatile, super strong. You're going to see her banned a lot. She was certainly banned a lot in the pre-qualifiers. That means that we've good. Caldarius coming in. Now, I want to recall, I think you said that's team 2 over there, or team 1 over there is
Lost Heroes.
Lost Heroes. There was some really excellent Caldarius play when they matched against Dunk Squad earlier on. So I'm really excited. I think we've got a really good Caldarius play over there. Thorn wasn't banned. They're picking her up. Arendi on the other team. It's really good for some of those kind of, A-tier, S-tier characters, those top-tier characters. You're seeing them disperse pretty evenly across the team. So that's going to be interesting to see what they pick up here.
You also have the Galt there, so the hook from Galt, that's going to be really crucial in the fact that going into the finale, if they do get overwhelmed by Lost Heroes, which they did on the game, the first time around, that at least can buy some time, because like how you mentioned before, we actually saw where Galt hooked him up onto the top of the map, and kind of had to, hurry his way down the little nooks and crannies of the hills, and that could just kind of buy some time. Then we see Alani picked out, which, again, just a normal character.
Well, that was a really smart counter pick. I mean, with Galt sitting here on the other team with NocTurnal, Lost Heroes picks up Alani, so you can't do the bubble hook combo, which is a really powerful combo. Alani can bubble, can get an enemy stuck in the air. Galt then can grab them out of there and pull them in. A really coordinated team can do that combo well, and now you've split that up. It's going to be a lot harder to see that happen, and that's good. Alani, again, also is extremely strong burst healer. You've seen her banned in several of the matches today for that, relying back on Miko and some other healing to really make that happen. Shane and Orox, again, a strong pick all through the tournament today. Very popular. A lot of tankiness, a lot of kind of a fat body. I'm picking up all of Skelligan's terms. I love that term. Fat body characters in there that really can do some visual blocking, some positional blocking on that, and see them round out. Oh, Beatrix and Wrath with NocTurnal over there. That's going to be good. And then Phoebe, a really good counter to Wrath. We've seen some really interesting Phoebe and Wrath engagements throughout the day. There was one particularly earlier in a match that Phoebe and Wrath were mixing it up, and you really see Phoebe use that phase gate to phase behind Wrath and get around and then hit him from the back and run off. Some really interesting interplay between those two characters, and should make for some really exciting matchups here as we'll watch for that. So we want to keep our eyes on that and watch for Phoebe and Wrath engagements, because who doesn't love a good sword fight, right? In fact, I think Wrath actually has a line, "You brought guns to a sword fight."
But we are going to be getting into game 1 of our losers final series here. These two Titans are fighting it out for their tournament stake right now. We're going to be getting into Cold Snap. We're going to be getting into Meltdown at Cold Snap.
It's kind of cold in here. I really feel that we're already in the spirit. I don't know, for those of you watching on the camera at home, this arena is like freezing. And smart guys like Mike and Skelly have brought jackets. I didn't. I wore this awesome sports jersey that Engage gave us. But oh my goodness, like Anthony Nicholson, our producer, pointed out earlier, sports jerseys aren't built to hold in heat. They're built to release it. So it's been cold snapping with me all day, let me tell you.
You say I'm smart to that black jacket, but I actually forgot to wear my jacket on this event, so I got to change here soon.
Well, it's a good thing Kelvin's not in here, because, I mean, I look at ice, I see ice, I look at Kelvin, and just, Oh, it's cold the whole time.
Well, let's talk about some of these picks that these guys have made when it comes to their selection for gear. So what are you guys seeing here that looks interesting?
There's a lot of econo builds. There's 4 shard collectors on the side of NocTurnal Gaming, and there's only 3 on the side of Lost Heroes, and they seem to opt for the 3 where they have one person go directly for the just all econo build, which is flawless gear set. But you also see a lot of epics on the side of Lost Heroes as well. So
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see how that works.
Wrath going with a little bit of early activated shield, probably just to give him a little bit of early game survivability. It's probably really important for Wrath in this situation because as he engages early on, he's going to want to be able to survive some of those early engagement against tankier characters, get his level up and try to get a level superiority advantage on him so he can get into his combos, his knock up, his stun, his silence on his stun, which comes into level 3, which are all really important. Man, look at that. Right out of the gate, both teams converting those initial shard runs into super minions, putting them right down the lane. In fact, look at this. There's a possibility that we're going to get Lost Heroes. Did they get it? A super minion right in at the beginning. Nope. Yeah, walking through. Look at that. Lost Heroes still distracted.
Trying to hop above one of them players right now.
right on there. Really a close thing, and they got it. 44 points, jumping up to 67 points for Lost Heroes right there. Got a minion wave, got at least one super minion. I wasn't sure what was happening on the other lane, but converted a lot of points here in literally the first minute and a half of the game. That was a really, really strong opening for Lost Heroes. Again, not surprised, a lot of team coordination, a lot of work on them, and they start off with a really good edge up on the lead there.
Yep, and not to mention during that time, Shane and Thorn actually managed to stop the Elite Bot moving in onto their grinder. So still 77-0. Actually, sorry,
92. Oh my goodness!
Oh, we're cashing
As they
it
get
in.
wave after wave in, they've really got Nocturnal Gaming kind of on the ropes, looking at other stuff, and they're just walking those minion waves right in. In fact, look how far they've got them pushed back. Nocturnal Gaming releasing another super minion right here, but Alani on Lost Heroes already there, kind of slowing it down, getting some damage on it as it turns the corner.
Yep, immediately knowing when the shards spawn up as they respawn every 2 minutes. Now we have Thorn actually chasing after the Beatrix, and Beatrix is stuck in a really hard place in the level. They're trying their best to try and get this Elite Bot to not go on the grinder, but unfortunately I don't think that's going to be the case, as I believe that Elite Bot is going to manage to go in. Should have low health. Wrath there try something. They actually do manage.
No, they
to
got it down. They
Yep.
got it down. Worked really hard. That was a great knock-up by Wrath. It's one of his best ploys on stuff like that. You know, one of the things that we've really heard, and I'm talking to some of the competitors today, one of the things that's really important, especially with minion waves that a lot of people disregard, are the use of CC on minion waves, on knock-up, on blind, which actually immobilizes the minions for a little bit. Blind, like Caldarius' blind, can really crush, not destroy them, but it can blind and stall a whole minion wave, which gives you those precious seconds to really get more damage on them, to get more characters to respond to them, that really prevent some of those waves getting through.
I just want to say, during this time, they actually fought all on the right-hand lane, and they allowed like 20 points to come in on the left-hand lane, and it was uncontested whatsoever. All 5 players are fighting on the right-hand lane here, and right now they finally go back to the left-hand lane, only because I believe that Elite Bot's going over there, so they have to deal with it, otherwise it'll be a 20-point deficit now. 147 to 18, they can still make a comeback, but it's going to be a very long comeback right now. As you see, Wrath has Melka trying to take down Elite Bot, but they have Phoebe there and Alani, so Alani's just trying to do her best to heal it, and now Phoebe's trying to do what she can. Right now it seems like the Elite Bot is going to manage to go in unless Wrath can do something to stop it real quick. Coming board here with the Melka. Melka is already low health, and unfortunately she
And
goes
out,
down.
yeah. And oh my gosh, he's turning around, and
It did not. It went in.
there he
178.
goes, 178. Strong, strong, strong opening from Lost Heroes. We're really going to have to, and now another wave in. We're at 203. Lost Heroes have already pushed the grinders back to the second phase of Meltdown. You know, we talked before the match that, you know, both teams kind of showing strong on Meltdown. This really being kind of the litmus test where the teams are going to end up today. Oh my goodness, you know, Lost Heroes again, showing what Lost Heroes can do, coming out of the gate. It's really, really, really strong.
And you know, this is unfortunate because this is actually how the first game between them went, where it was about this much deficit, but NocTurnal was able to kind of get it brought down. I believe it was like a level 5 Ultra Mini heading into the finale. But this just kind of shows what tiers that, you know, Dunk Squad and Lost Heroes are compared to the other competition here, because the sole fact that Dunk Squad and Lost Heroes, when they play, they're about the same, you know, equal skill level wise. You know, Dunk Squad kind of pulls out ahead every single time they face now. But considering the fact that how Lost Heroes is playing against NocTurnal and the rest of the competition, it just seems like it's on a whole nother level of Battleborn.
Yeah, these are both excellent teams, really experienced. I'm kind of sad I don't think we've had an opportunity yet to match up a dev team versus Lost Heroes. That's something we may have to set up sometime because I think that the Lost Heroes of Rolo is just about like Dunk Squad does every time. I may have to go and play on some PS4 just to try to see if I can get some matches against those guys because they're really talented. And you learn a lot from watching how they coordinate and watching how they play together.
Yep. Shane managed to pick up Melta there. We see Phoebe in a sword to a gunfight. You know, they say never bring a knife to a gunfight, but Phoebe, that don't matter. She has a long sword, and she actually managed to get Beatrix all the way down. Didn't be able to take her out, though, but she did force her to back up, and now it's really small for late clear on this lane. They should be able to get it. Still 270-18. It's been about 2 minutes before they've gotten anything into the end grinder.
Yeah, and you made a really good point there, Mike, that sometimes just forcing an enemy to reposition is all you need to do to really win a push, especially on Meltdown. If you can force them into retreat, push them back to a gate, it frees up the lanes for the minions to walk unobstructed and undelayed to the gate. Every second counts, every minion that goes through counts, and teams that do that well, know you don't always have to pursue someone who's running back away. It's really more important to really play the minion game. In fact, we see this all the time. The classic mistake made in Meltdown is teams start playing the deathmatch game and they stop playing the minion game in Meltdown and they lose. You gotta focus on the minions. You gotta pay attention to them, and you only play the player versus player, the deathmatch game, where it makes sense for you to win the minion game. Otherwise, you're not playing the way the mode scores. And so, Lost Heroes excellent at that, as we see. Now, there was a point when we crossed over at 200 there, and the gates moved back, that NocTurnal had a real opportunity to capitalize on that. They're still moving to the early gates. Lost Heroes are now having to move to the back gates. They have to get the minions further across the map into a more heavily defended part of the NocTurnal territory. NocTurnal has a chance now to make up that deficit, but we're not seeing that happen. In fact, we're seeing them frozen here at 21 points, while Lost Heroes just continue to pull on through. Now here at 55 points, only a couple of waves away from moving into the finale phase.
Now, I guess I'll pull up the scoreboard real quick. I have to see how many kills. I don't think I've seen NocTurnal game get any much kills. 2-16, 14-2. Kills definitely in favor of Lost Heroes there. Galt being the only one that actually has any kills to his name. And the damage difference about 150, about 50,000 points.
About 50,000. It's not as dramatic a damage distance we've seen in some of the other matchups today, but it is definitely a pronounced damage in favor of Lost Heroes.
Yep. 358 to 24. Finally got some points in the board for NocTurnal game. They're stuck between rock and hard place right now. They have to figure out some way to come back into this game while also getting pressured a lot by Lost Heroes. And I noticed that one thing that Lost Heroes does well is keep applying the pressure. And as long as they keep maintaining that same sort of intensity going through this, we see Galt having to pop his ult just to be able to get somewhat Shane Arcs off his tail, but just like that, you're going to see Shane Arcs just come out.
Well, that was an excellent maneuver by Shane and Aurochs. You saw what Shane and Aurochs did is they used kind of their stealth ability. They split out while Galt was in the middle of the ult to really move and reposition away from him so that he couldn't finish off that ult combo. When he did that, Galt turned to flee away. Shane and Aurochs comes and gets them right from behind, and you heard the sound from the perspective of Phoebe teleporting. Phoebe and Shane and Aurochs both double-teamed Galt from behind and took him down while he was running away. It was, again, a really good coordinated team combo. Skelly and I talked a lot earlier about how when you have some of these characters that can make plays like that, a Shane and Aurochs that either can get a grab or can turn invisible, watching for ways that you can group up with your team to stack on damage is really important.
Yeah, and just to say that, the finale did happen just under 9 minutes. Now you have a 7.0 advantage. And honestly, if I was them right now, I would just stack one lane, because since you have the first bot coming through, just stack one lane. You're going to force NocTurnal to kind of deal with you on that lane, and they have to deal with the other minion as well. So I believe that if they wanted to win it here, they possibly could. Even if you look at the level of differential, 6, 6, 6, 5, 5 on the side of Lost Heroes, where it's 5, 4, 5, 4, 4. So you got 3 people on NocTurnal game, don't even have the ult yet. You have the Rendy really low health, and now you got the Caldarius backing up, but Caldarius, you mentioned before, one of the best mobility characters in the game itself. So I don't see it happening. Just to say that, that's 3 people down now in favor of Nocturnal Gaming. So this should be an easy win coming out for Lost Heroes. I don't see them dropping this game, especially at this opening.
Yeah, that was really a devastating loss for Nocturnal right there, as 3 members of the team went down. They spawned back, but it's not anywhere close enough to prevent that minion bot from jumping through the gate and ending match 1.
Lost Heroes is going to take that first match with a commanding victory. Man, I don't know if, I don't know honestly what we're going to be looking at for Nocturnal and figuring out what exactly they need to change up there, because it just seemed like there was so much that was on their plate as a result. Constantly overwhelmed. Lost Heroes definitely showing that they are deserving of that number 2 seed. So out of the gate, I mean, is there anything that you guys saw, whether it was even as early as pick and bans, that maybe there is something that Nocturnal kind of made some slight error early on?
Well, I mentioned it earlier when they played last. I didn't really see them have anything bad about their picks. It was more so about their bans. And going into this game, their picks and bans are actually pretty good. Like, they have the regular combos down. It's just the amount of pressure that Lost Heroes applies to them. And you can tell that Lost Heroes is so coordinated compared to what it seems like Nocturnal is. And maybe that's just because of the longevity of how long this team's been together. But that just takes into account, it's like, at this point in time, I don't know if there is an answer to do this. Like, honestly, I don't. What do you think, Randy?
Well, Melka is a really suspect choice right now. She's in a place where she's not as strong as she's been in the past. Really, for Melka to be any kind of a force in a tournament, I mean, you have to be an exceptional Melka player and have to really know what Melka is bringing to your team composition. She's a harasser, and I think, right now, Caldarius or Thorn are better examples of kind of mobile damage dealer, harasser type of characters. For them, it might have been better to pick up an Ernest or another character like that had some real wave clear ability in a meltdown match. If they get to another one, that would probably be something I would look at instead of a Melka. I mean, even a Montana and Isaac, a little bit tankier character that would live up with some of that. Especially since they'd already gotten Galt on the team, they don't have to worry so much about being picked and pulled. But in this case, there was some difficulty there. Wrath is a good choice in some circumstances, but again, you see here where Wrath is kind of a B-tier character. I mean, he can be really strong, but he's not the top of the picks right now, and you see it here. A team that knows how to counter him, that knows how to separate him up, is using a teamwork against him right here. No kills, 4 deaths. He only got 2 assists on that. We saw a couple of good knockups from him in the match, but other than that, we really didn't see him convert any of those into kills or advantage for his team. So a really tough choice on that. You're going to want to look for probably some different characters. Again, Boulder was banned. Boulder's a good alternative with that. Phoebe is probably a little bit of the stronger choice just because of her ability to teleport and escape and aggress on that. Again, exceptional Phoebe play on Lost Heroes 5-0 for that. So you see, on the melee to melee thing, 5-0 to 0-4, our sword dueling fight, definitively in the favor of Phoebe the Mageblade, heiress of the Hemsworth dynasty. So she's bringing home the colors tonight. It's great. In fact, yeah, it's great. Really good to see her do so well.
Yep. And I believe next map will be Overgrowth Incursion, and that actually, if Nocturnal can somehow take this incursion, going back to the meltdown point, one thing they could possibly do is something that Dunkswan does really well is they just need to gank, just run around 5-man, 4-man, 3-man, and do your best to catch everybody out guard, because there was one point in that match that they caught Caldarius off guard, but Caldarius being the character he is, he has mobility, he's very slippery. They were not able to focus him, and Shane was able to get there in time in order enough to push them off of Caldarius and get Caldarius away. And I'm talking about Caldarius was caught off guard with having 3/4 health, and by the time he was done with that team fight, it was about a quarter health left on him. And that was a good 20 seconds that we were watching that team fight. So,
makes sense.
All right, here we go in. We're loading in the match. We'll cut to it in just a second to look at the pick and bans. Again, I agree with everything you said, Mike. I think it comes down so much in Battleborn to teamwork. Single characters, unless you have really, really exceptional skill on the player, single characters have a hard time really taking on other single characters and knocking them down. There's some combos that are different than others, but teamwork is the key to the day. Really using, again, a stun, a slow, some other combo, a mark, anything and taking on a contest always with advantage of odds.
Yep. Going to this pick and ban right now, we'll have Lost Heroes on your left-hand side as Team 0. That's going to be Nocturnal Gaming on your right-hand side as Team number 1. Kelvin immediately banned. I think he's only gotten through once.
Right, and again, I call back to that. When we did, he went, I think, 14 and 11. He was a powerhouse. We saw him in fact, on this map, Overgrowth Incursion, I believe, when he played in and was just immensely devastating.
Yep, and we saw that tremendously throughout the pre-online qualifier as well. That was a point where one team, I believe it was Draconic Esports, which aren't here at this event, they pushed up, got the first sentry down. Well, it might have been Lost Heroes, I'm not too sure, but going back, they just fought at their sentry, and they were not able to, the other team was not able to siege enough, and they just had Kelvin coming out and just bite. At the end of the game, he had like 4,000, 5,000 health. But going to this pick, man, we see Shane on the side of Nocturnal, and we finish out Galileo on the side of Lost Heroes, and then Boulder to finishing out. So Boulder, probably the most banned character this event.
Yeah, but Boulder and Kelvin have both been way up there. We'll look at the stats later on and post them, but I think you're pretty close on that. Shane's an interesting call. That's not a bad pick from those guys. They had a lot of problem with Shane last match. You know, Lost Heroes has definitely shown some really good skill using Shane and Aurochs on that. So they're going to try to take that away from him and see if that actually makes a difference, trying to take a character that's proven strong. I think Lost Heroes has a pretty deep bench, though. So while Shane and Aurochs is a really solid character, I bet they can find something to replace that kind of role, especially Incursion, and get some more utility out of it.
Yep, we see Thorn being picked on the side of, that's going to be Lost Heroes. Ernest filling out the side of Nocturnal Gaming. Ernest being the siege character he is, able to chunk out grenades and just power eggs to help his team, do more damage or take less damage. He's one of the probably best siege characters in this game.
Yeah, I really enjoy Ernest because, I need all the help I can get, and he starts off with a noob tube, Yeah. Now, but what we do to mitigate that is rather than just spam grenades anywhere, again, we talk about that combo that Ernest has, that direct hit. He really does need to hit a target with his grenade to maximize his damage potential. If he gets direct hit, he's going to get that later on. He can actually add a wound to that. We're actually talking to another team in the tournament earlier, surprised that more Ernest players don't take the wound on his grenades. You can actually take that. They usually choose to take, I think it's a 7% damage boost instead of the wound. But wound, and we'll want to see, wound if you're playing against heavy support characters. You have a lot of healers and all that, can be very good. Wound on direct hit, really easy condition to apply, especially when your support healers are healing a big tanky character like a Montana or a Kelvin or an Isaac or someone like that, or even a Galilea. So we'll see what that factor comes into play. See, we've got a Thorn and a Lonnie. Lonnie, always a solid choice, really versatile character. It's Lost Heroes on the blue side, correct?
Yes.
And we're going to see what Nocturnal is doing. Now, they picked up Beatrix, who's super strong, has not been banned. They picked her. That's actually a really smart choice for them. If they're looking for a character that weights a little bit more on the strength side to them, she's a sniper. There are some long sight lines in Incursion Overgrowth. She might be able to turn some of that into actual advantage for him.
Isaac on the side of Lost Heroes. Now, we saw that 2 times through the online qualifier out of 15 games. And honestly, I may have missed it, but I don't think we've seen him at all this event. I could be wrong, though.
We've seen Isaac. I think Dunk Squad has taken them a couple of times on the Monuments Incursion map, right? Because they were using him really well to use his teleport ability to teleport up on ledges to be able to kind of flank and counter some of those when you're turning the corner into the sentry bases from either side. Using Isaac to get up there and to really kind of own that engagement and turn back around, fire back down on the places.
The duo, Oscar Mike and Whiskey Foxtrot.
Oh, the Mike brothers. somewhere, Jim Ferranda, the voice actor for Oscar Mike and Whiskey Foxtrot, and Isaac, incidentally, is smiling down upon us all. You're going to see one of these matches here that has three of the characters that he voiced. He also did a Minrek in the Meltdown, who's the announcer. You will be killed.
Did he do Marquee as well?
And he didn't do Marquee.
Okay.
He did Whiskey Foxtrot, and of course in the Oscar Mike DLC mission, Oscar Mike versus the Battle School, he did all of the Mikes. He did General Mike, he did Baker Mike, I think there were like 7 or 8 different Mike voices that he did, all of them slightly different. Again, Lost Heroes picking up Phoebe. They're going to bring Amelka to Incursion. So this is gonna be really interesting. So we're seeing Melka trade sides, again picked, surprising pick, and an Atticus here on NocTurnal. So interesting case there. Now what you're really gonna look for is an Atticus-Beatrix combo, where Beatrix can put some lifesteal, can put some attack speed on Atticus, and let him really get in and mix it up and brawl it up.
The one thing I like about this game we have right now is a lot of these characters were some of the least picked characters during the online qualifier that maybe we saw banned. We didn't see it all. So to see them actually showcased here at the Chocktaw Festival of Gaming, it's amazing to see. And I'm really kind of curious about this meta, because this is not necessarily the traditional style meta that you'd see these noble teams play, especially the Isaac, the Melka, the Phoebe. You got the Atticus, Whiskey Foxtrot, Oscar Mike, Beatrix, Ernest.
I gotta say, it's freaking me right now. You see the Ernest right above the Ernest tag, and you were getting like the double Ernest face on that. That was bizarre. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you, Mike. We're seeing some different mixes up. You see teams of kind of different team experience levels here, and they're making some different picks and counter picks. But what's interesting is to watch a team like NocTurnal, who has less time together as Lost Heroes, make some interesting and some different picks that you see in the meta, and Lost Heroes kind of responding to that with some other unusual picks, picks that I wouldn't have thought that they would make. Melka is again a really interesting choice. I'm going to be really excited to see what they do with Melka, to see if they can bring her out. You take a more experienced Melka player and have some really impact on the match. You guys are distracting me with all your all your pinging play. That was a lot of pinging there. So well done.
Looking at the gear set, we don't see that many Econo builds here. We only see in total for all three shard collectors, one on Atticus, one on Torn, and then one on Isaac. So all epics basically.
All right, trolls.
Did they plan this beforehand?
Probably. That little chirp that you're hearing again is them using the kind of the identification. You can mark a character for your team to see, and they're just spamming that. Probably because I said so.
So right now we have, that's going to be Oscar Mike and Whiskey Foxtrot on the sniper perch on the side of, that's going to be NocTurnal Gaming. So now Atticus just, with all the ranged characters on the side of Lost Heroes, do you think Atticus will be that viable in the early game, or do you think he's going to be more so the late game character? At the moment, it seems like he just kind of has to poke out and hope he can get some hits here and there, but he can't really do that much because as of right now, he just has to back up.
Yeah, early game, some of our big tanky characters really have to be careful. While they do start with more health, they are so easy to be focus fired and targeted by other players. If they don't have a pocket cooler, if they don't have a pocket support in there, they're very easy to take down. In fact, here you see Atticus, just a sliver of health. He has to disengage. Now he's going to disengage, and he went all the way back to the base, which unfortunately, I mean, that's a really great play for Lost Heroes, because what you've done is you've unpositioned him. You forced him to retreat, you forced him to move back. He's lost precious seconds in early game leveling that could put him a little bit behind the power curve. It's really bad for a character like Atticus, who already struggles a little bit to be viable in the early game with his current power structure.
Yeah, and right now you see it. It didn't really seem like they kind of dealt with Oscar Mike and Whiskey Foxtrot on the ledge until the PB went up there. And I guess that's just because of the fact that they kind of got tired of getting hit and pegged from the side of the sniper perch. But right now, they have NocTurnal kind of pinned in their base, and that's pretty big on the side of Lost Heroes there, because now it forces NocTurnal to kind of have to do something to get out of their base. And they have, I don't think at all since the beginning of the game they have yet to get mid-map control, so I think Isaac kind of just forced them off of mid-map during the beginning of the game, so they've been fighting for the base the whole time.
Yeah, you've got to be careful. You know, early on in the incursion, especially on Overgrowth here with that sniper perch, you know, the very first few months of Battleborn, you saw a lot of dominance up there. We actually, when we came through and we fixed some of the issues with Mark II being able to shoot the sentry from where he wasn't supposed to, we changed the nature of that sniper perch a little bit, and we gave some additional access. Like there's a crate there. Anybody on the other team can actually hop up on the crate and hop on the perch. We made it a little bit more of an assailable position. Used to, a sniper could get up there, no one could get to them, and they could absolutely control the midfield. Now it's a little bit less control. In fact, that may be the reason that Lost Heroes took Melka, because what Melka does with some of her mobility allows her to get up and really harass characters that think they're going to sit on the sniper perch and really be a dominant factor in that mid-game, mid-map area. So Oscar Mike and Whiskey Foxtrot, you see them constantly driven back. In fact, Oscar Mike there about to be driven back all the way to his base.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because first blow was actually Melka getting Whiskey Foxtrot. I guarantee it probably was on that type of pressure area. Now Beatrix kind of forced back due to the minion wave going out. Atticus just trying to fight around the corner and make sure he doesn't get hit. We'll have Isaac go on board here with the sniper turret. He's actually just going to kind of harass the stinger turret. Probably managed to get it down, even though he still has the thumper turret. Except one of his ability. Actually, he stands out.
Oh my goodness, Isaac on one of the really interesting places that only he and a few others can get to up there. Still up in the sniper perch, sitting up there now shooting the sentry. Atticus trying to get there and knock him down, but Atticus just doesn't quite have that height on there. He's getting some hits on him, but finally going to push him back out there. That was a really interesting play on Isaac to get in there and get the shield burned down a little bit on that. I got to say, you know, watching the Melka, I was really concerned about that for Lost Heroes, but I got to say, I think they made a really smart choice. And this is what I'm talking about. Characters that might not be at the top tier power, but in really good hands when you know what you're doing with your team strategy, your team composition, can still play a really important part at deconstructing the puzzle that enemy teams put, the combat puzzle the enemy team is laying out in front of you.
To kind of go back on the point about Isaac managing to make it all the way up on top of the sniper perch there, that was a really good play from Isaac because it forced all of NocTurnal Gaming to focus on that Isaac to try and get him down from there. Do whatever they can to harass and do as much damage to him to make him fall back down, because otherwise you just want to harass your sentry and negate all his shields down. Which also was good for Lost Heroes because that allowed the team to clear out the minion waves and get more map control, and now they forced NocTurnal Gaming back into the base. Atticus having to fall back up, and now we have the Oscar Mike and Whiskey Foxtrot back up on board, and now Phoebe's still trying to do what she can to knock her off. Has the Alani there as well to kind of do a little bit of harassing damage.
Yeah, again, the bros having to take their guns and back off into their base. Melka, again, a really good harassment play and really good focus to keep them off the ledge. And we're getting a lot of backdooring here. Look at Melka kind of get here, just taking opportunities to distract the sentry, really playing that corner to try to keep that sentry from landing that. Mike's going to get in there and really try to do that. In fact, again, the clone brothers back up there really trying to work together to do that. But Melka just hopping away like a rabbit. Again, using her mobility, using her narrow frame to get out of combat.
The good thing about that was the fact that since Melka was backdooring, even though her Lost Heroes didn't have enough squad into the base, it prevented the shield on the sentry from regenerating because she was doing that ping damage to, you know, at least show that was in combat, which allowed for the other team to finally get map control back. And now you see the sentry has no shield, already down to 85% right now.
Well, and you can watch the sentry. In fact, watch what's happening here. Melka came back to that back door, and after the sentry shield went down, started to envenomate the sentry. And what Venom does is it actually lasts now for 4 or 6 seconds, depending on how you AUG it. And it will continue to do a small damage tick, which will lengthen the time before the sentry shield starts coming back. She's able to come back and do that, repeat it again. It doesn't do a lot of damage now, but it is slowly ticking off and preventing that shield from recharging, which again lets Isaac come up here, position himself in a place that he's just going to be able to rain down holy hell on the sentry and finish it off right there. First sentry down, Lost Heroes, some really excellent play. Isaac with his extendable fist trying to punch Oscar Mike as he runs off the ledge. That would have been a fun one to see Oscar Mike pummel him to death, but didn't quite, see Isaac pummel him to death. Didn't quite happen, but I got to give props to the Isaac player. That was pretty fun to watch.
That was a really heads-up play there on the side of Lost Heroes. He got the sentry down from half health all the way down to 0, and NocTurnal just kind of avoided him. I don't know if they didn't have an answer to get him off that ledge, but the only answer was Atticus. Atticus came to a point where he could have still stopped that, but unfortunately he was able to make it in time, and Atticus actually should be going down here. I believe it's going to be either Oscar Mike or Whiskey Foxtrot. That's going to be Oscar Mike, I believe.
So Phoebe taking down Atticus and Melka taking down Whiskey Foxtrot. Alani taking down Beatrix. Man, it's really put Lost Heroes now in a position to convert to a massive push.
Yeah, that was 4 down there for a second there, and now it really puts Lost Heroes in a really good position. Now, again, NocTurnal Gaming is going to be fighting back from this main sentry, trying to get this down to Chocktaw right now. They should be able to get that down as well as they have Elite Bot pushing up, and now time to rain siege onto the Elite Bot, and now we see that's going to be Phoebe pushing up through the supply station area. They have the supply station built. Now it's in favor of them, and I believe the thumper turret was down as well. So
Yeah, you watched earlier as Lost Heroes was getting the push through the first Sentry area. Thorn took down that turret. They actually double flanked kind of the bunker up there, and they were able to force Oscar Mike and I think Whiskey, who were up there, out of position. Were able to take down their healing station. And once you take that bunker overlooking the last Sentry man, it really gives you an advantageous position to harass from there while your minions and other players come around for that kind of split push on there. It makes the defenders split their focus. It really where they're putting fire and what they're dealing with, and oftentimes can really be the death knell for a team on that. So one of the reasons we put that bunker up there, it really breaks kind of a long, protracted stalemate of a game because you have characters who can really use that for great advantage.
One thing I noticed just from watching that one play there was it seems like NocTurnal, did not really have that big of a communication between the teams, because as you saw, Oscar Mike kind of rotated back to try and deal with the Isaac that just got up here, as well as Whiskey Fox on Gators already up there dealing with him. You had two players trying to deal with that player there, so you really didn't need Oscar Mike to rotate back, because that actually gave Thorn an ability to shoot the Sentry more. Fortunately enough, Thorn had to fall back because she did get hit with I believe a grenade in the face there. And now Oscar Mike at a little low health right now, 33 health, where he can get his shield back up. He does manage to get shield. Right now, the Sentry is being taken damage on, and Isaac's back up on the corner with Thorn. And now you have Phoebe down, and now Alani's just doing what she can. Right now, if you look at the positioning from NocTurnal Gaming, there's nothing they can do as the Sentry's being rained upon. We did see that Actress was taken out by the Phoebe, though. Alani takes out the Oscar Mike, so now two down.
Two down, Ernest in trouble. Whiskey actually hurt. Ernest is going to go down there from Alani. A really nice pickup from Alani, just picking him off with that last little bit of damage. Alani with a double kill, also picking up that really good play from Alani here. Again, it shows you even Alani as a support character has a lot of ability to pour on damage and to do finishing blows with her attack there. Phoebe taking out Whiskey Foxtrot. Phoebe taking out Beatrix. Whiskey going down to Alani ultimately, but I think Phoebe getting damage on it.
Right now, you see Phoebe taking out the Atticus. Already low health, 122, has a shock to it, shooting her around the face. But no care is given as the Sentry's down to 8. And right now, I believe it's going to be Isaac just going to be taking this out.
And Isaac in siege mode, going to focus him down and take out the last Sentry. So this bracket goes to Lost Heroes, 2-0.
Lost Heroes is going to take that series uncontested and try to reclaim their spot into grand finals to take on Dunk Squad. The first and second seeds right now about to take it out each other in our next bout. This last game, though, fantastic. Lost Heroes showing full form dominance. Not only did they